And again, I was kind of almost drawn to what would be more truthful, and that maybe I should show myself being a bit bald. Now the problem is like everything in the game was either you have a Japanese anime style haircut or you're George Costanza,
Yes.
and it's it's like that's a
There's no in between. It's just super extreme.
The adult beverages will be poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers trying to figure out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 10-year-old and a 8-year-old.
And beer picks of the week continue. It is the greatest time of the year.
It is.
The barbecues are flowing. I should say the barbecues are firing. The beer is flowing. It's hot weather out here. So in the annual tradition of New Dad Gaming, every week we try to find a new beer, test it out, and give you our honest feedback. Just trying to broaden our beer horizon. We got some great suggestions from our audience this last week, and do keep it up. Reach out to us at New Dad Gaming on Twitter. Give us some beers you think we should be trying. We're currently trying to source some that were suggested, and we'll try to get it onto the show. But we have some new picks this week. Jeff, why don't you kick it off? What are you drinking this week?
Okay, I am drinking Sweetwater Brewing Company's Extra Pale Ale 420.
420.
420.
The amount of restraint the can shows.
All right.
Given the name, it's amazing.
It's a fish. There's no other imagery.
No cannabis, no leaves, no
Nothing.
smoke, just straight fish and beer.
Yeah.
And a highway sign.
But here it goes. I'm going to crack it open. I have not tasted this. It is brewed in Atlanta. Independently brewed since 97. So we're going to try this out.
Love that radio drama sound.
It's good. Whoa. There's some fruity taste in there.
I do want to make sure it actually tastes good. You're not trying to be kind, because that was
Nope.
whoa, that's good.
No, it's good. It's definitely, it says on the can, fresh and flavorful. That does describe what this hits you at. Just nice, right up the nose with the fresh fruit. But no, it's good. I like it. I think it's really strong. Oh, yeah, it is. It's almost 6%. So yeah,
Okay.
It is quite a heavy, strong beer. So if you are going to sip on a couple of these, just make sure you're planted, as preferably out in the backyard, and then have access to a bed. But yeah, no, it's good. It hits the spot. Nice,
Okay.
ice
Well,
cold. So
sit with it for the rest of the show. We'll swing back around to see how it kind of mellowed out for you through the entire one. I'm going to open up mine, but let's first start with what, based on my pick, is considered some drinking beer music. Now, it should be noted the video portion of our podcast is showing this in Rock Band.
yeah,
Just slaying it. So it turns out that Iron Maiden has produced an entire range of beer.
crazy to me. I don't know how you found this. Were you on their e-newsletter or something? Like,
I was just walking through the beer store. And I was trying to find something. I'm doing my best not to just choose stuff from directly in our circle of influence, because I will say we're in Southern Ontario, Canada, and we are drowning in amazing beer right now. Like the Southern Ontario up here in Canada, it is a renaissance of amazing craft beer. So I mean, Jeff and I could basically stone throws away get like 10 great beers that most listeners of the show could never touch.
Yeah.
So this is from England. So I'm kind of hoping that it has a broader distribution. So that's why I want to get it. So the one that I picked up ended up being the Trooper Premium British Beer.
wow, that is a mouthful.
Per the screen that I'm currently showing, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 beers that these people put together. So this is not just a cash it in, put a logo on it. Seems that the members of Iron Maiden seem to take their beers seriously. So
Yeah.
that gives me hope this might actually be good. We'll see. So let's get that radio drama going. All right. Bottoms up.
Cheers.
Oh, that's pleasant. That's
Okay.
nice. I hate using the word smooth because it's kind of that's a catch-all phrase, but there's nothing that is
Yeah.
affrontive. There's certainly kind of a malt to it. You did mention in the listing there's some lemon to it. I can almost see that in the slight bit of fruit, but like malt, smooth. It's a golden ale, so it has those kind of characteristics with it. So that's great. That's a pleasant surprise. Iron Maiden. Okay, let's bring up some of that music real quick.
That you have to play the music while drinking. That's on the can. I'm sorry. That is pretty crazy that they came up with a whole line. Again, you're gonna have to taste them all.
Yeah, one by one. I do like it when it's not just a cash in. So I mean, two examples I can give, which are totally unrelated to most of our show, but I'll probably mispronounce the name, but Maynard from Tool. Apparently, his wines are just phenomenal. Like, he applies the same type of crazy manic focus that he applies to his music into his wine. So it's apparently delicious. And then Metallica with their whiskey apparently did some really wild stuff as far as like playing their music into the barrels to try to get stuff happening. So it's just cool to see that it's not just, sure, here's a mid-level beer.
Yeah, like an investment, right? Like, here's where you go. There's my money. That's my nest egg.
Get it done. So great beer picks. We'll see how it goes. As I said, any beer picks from gaming dads listening out there, reach out to us at New Dad Gaming. We'd love to pick up some choices. Now, a tweet came across our desk, and it just so perfectly nailed what vacation is to a dad. Isn't that right, Jeff?
Oh, absolutely. This hit the nail on the head of how parenting is just a full-time, lifelong job. So
coming from the account Henpecked Hal, at Henpecked Hal, parenting is a full-time job and taking a family vacation is just working remotely.
It really is.
Like us as dads, if you've ever planned on a vacation, the packing for the kids, the planning for the kids, how are we going to feed them, like what events, what can they do when we arrive there? Like even before you get there, it's just mountains of paperwork, and then when you arrive, it's just 24/7 ensuring that your kids are okay in this new location.
Yeah, especially when they're younger. I have traveled internationally, I'm sure you have, with a 9-month-old to Mexico and Cuba, and to pack for that is basically parenting times 2 away, because you have to make sure that you have everything, because you might not have access to everything. So just like that kind of anxiety to prepare on something that's supposed to be like kind of a, a recharge where you kind of let go of things. It's just bananas.
For such a thing, did you bring any type of gaming paraphernalia? Did you have like a Game Boy? I don't think Switch would have been available at that time.
I just had a tablet. Honestly, that was it. And that was what kind of entertained the kids on the plane. Well, I have a 3-year-old at the time that entertained him. Baby 9-month-old, not entertained by anything. So that was a bunch of squeeze toys and rattles and stuff at that point. But
and prayers and hopes and dreams.
So. That's right.
I'm curious about future travels. I've been thinking that a bit. Like, so for previous flights that we've taken, it's been tablet mode, just try to keep them entertained. We've been fairly lucky. I do think about now, as he's gotten into the Switch, if it is a 5-hour flight and it's just 5 hours of Minecraft, which I'm sure your kids as well would just love the opportunity to do nothing but.
Oh yeah. Our last trip we took the Switch, so that helped out a bunch. I will say the prime opportunity is when you're kind of settling down in the room at night. You kind of have to be in the room with them. They might have a separate room to themselves, but that keeps them quiet for so long until they pass out, and then you can do whatever you want, just kind of again recharge. But yeah, that came in handy again with the Joy-Cons just popping out and have 2-player, no problem. Now that they're in the Minecraft, that would
so
be a
perfect.
sweet deal.
Parenting is a full-time job, and taking a family vacation is just working remotely. All right, now on a vacation, you can find yourself, you can recharge yourself. In many of the new games, you can build yourself, you can create yourself.
Ooh.
And I stumbled across an interesting dilemma recently with my Oculus Quest, where you can kind of set a main avatar that will follow you through a bunch of games.
That's not you? Like, it's not like a projection of you? You think it would like just take your space?
Yeah, but the Facebook Oculus Quest is, hey, don't worry, I know what you look like.
Here's a photo from 10 years ago. Your memory.
We've got a 3D scan of you. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it came time, so I was going to create my main avatar, and I just had this really weird experience. I'm curious, you as a gaming dad, if you had the same thing, where it was, okay, what's my body type? And I currently have my COVID 30,
Right. Your ideal body type or your real?
There's the body type I have in my mind, and there's my dad body type in real life. I got my dad
That's
bod
right.
basically. And the question, as I'm going through these options, there's where I would want to be. There's currently like where I have a bit of a gut because of summer of
Yeah.
beer, certainly running
Right.
havoc. And I was kind of struggling. It's like in some ways, if I was more truthful, like it's sort of, I'm not massive, but I would still have a bit of a gut. Like it'd be more appropriate if I was going to be true here to have a stomach. Now I don't
Right.
have to be true. This is just gaming, but still, there was just this moment of it,
Exactly.
and that you keep going through. Okay, hair time. I'm balding.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I'm starting
Yeah.
to go thin. Like I got like a big old patch in the back there, and there's some balding
Yeah.
options that you can choose for it. And again, I was kind of almost drawn to what would be more truthful, and that maybe I should show myself being a bit bald. Now the problem is like everything
Right.
in the game was either you have a Japanese anime style haircut or you're George Costanza,
Yes.
and it's it's like that's a,
There's no in between. It's just super extreme.
and it's like and that's too far. Like I'm not there yet, but again those moments of how honest am I going to be? There was a time where I added a bunch of wrinkles. Like I'm coming up on 40,
Oh.
so like I have some like laugh lines and stress lines and things like that. So you can make it
Stress lines. I was about to say, like, child, stress lines.
a
all that
line
stuff.
for every
Yeah.
child times 20.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going through and like, okay, I can add some of those. Have you had the same where you're looking at yourself and it's, I don't want to be 6'5", 300 pounds and zero fat. It's almost like should I
Right.
present myself more or should I present myself as I would want to be or I aspire to be? Have you found yourself struggling a bit?
Yeah. I'll throw a scenario at you though.
Okay.
I wouldn't leave these choices up to your child
No.
because
I can't take that hurt.
through a child's eyes, innocent as they are brutally honest. So I have had my Animal Crossing avatar created by my son,
No.
and he said, "Dad, here you are on my island." And like you said, at least we're not like totally realistic with a lot of body proportions, but he got them pretty close to reality. A little bit of thinning hair again, right? Because I got that too. And he's like, "Dad, you look like Mr. Dress Up."
Okay.
If anyone is Canadian and knows a Mr. Dress Up, he's definitely balding. He's an old dude, and I'm like, hello, I am not what I thought as a kid was 50. I am not there.
So this is Jeff. So we're showing plaid shirt or like striped shirt, a lovable, charming grandpa face, big spectacles.
Right.
You're Mr. Dress Up.
Yep, I don't have that, but yeah, no, that was me. And sometimes I do wear glasses when I game to read the small text that developers want to put in. But yeah, don't leave it up to your kids because they will be brutally honest with you and you'll just have to accept it. But I have never had to do something this lifelike as an avatar that wasn't like a Wii avatar. Do you know what I mean? Or if it was like Skyrim, I'm being the lizard man. I'm not being like regular Jeff running
Yeah,
around in
you know,
Skyrim. But
That's amazing. Like to get a sense of what how your kids see you. Do you think they were
Sees you,
being tongue in cheek? Were they trying to be, hey, look what I've done. I've represented you perfectly. Like where do you think they were landing?
I think it was brutally honest. Like this,
was
I
no
made you,
spot.
and then you have to read them, right? You're like, wait, is he joking or is he not? And because if you laugh at it, be like, haha, so funny. He's like, what?
I worked
No,
really
I'm being,
hard at this.
like, I spent a lot
This
of
is
time.
a sculpture.
Yeah. So no, it was brutal honesty. So I just accepted that, criticism. I'm like, well, that's how the world sees me. That's who I am in Animal Crossing, but I'm going to change it when you go to bed.
I
So
could be ripped. I could be tanned.
yeah. So I don't know how you're dealing with this. I don't know. It's kind of like
Well,
you're at a
My problem,
crossroads.
it's funny because they didn't have a lot of in-between options, which again, like especially for the Oculus Quest, it's fairly cartoonish, a little bit like Animal Crossing, I suppose. But they're not going to have fairly healthy with a bit of a gut. You know what I mean? Like so
Yeah.
instead, it's either going to be you have shoulders like a football player, or you are completely pudge, like upside down triangle type of thing. And like I said, George Costanza or anime character. Man, the
Yeah,
kid thing would be horrifying because they love to point out in a cheeky, laughing manner
Everything.
that I have like a gut now. It's like, Dad, look at Dad's
Yeah.
fat belly, and they'll like slap on it and like, I tend to,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with it, so I think it's hilarious. But to think of how they would craft
Yeah.
me in game would be fairly insulting, I think.
I think we should at least have a side by side of what you have crafted, and then give it to your kids. Be like, okay, go nuts, and then just see what they come back with, and then do that almost before after.
That'd be such a great gaming dad challenge. Is like craft yourself and then have your kids craft you. How do they see you?
Yeah, I will grab my son's Animal Crossing version of me, and I will show our Twitterverse and anybody that follows what he thinks.
Yeah,
of his
if
dad.
anyone has like a
So,
great example their kids created, and like I would adore to see what people's kids think. So, have you ever had any interesting ones with your kids where because now yours in getting into Animal Crossing, they have control over their own avatars. Have there been some moments where it surprised you, was interesting?
they've done a lot, like with Animal Crossing, just creating their own characters. You can design all the clothing and stuff, and the stuff that they observe me wearing and then they themselves wearing, and they can go in and edit it and actually draw the fashion, the clothes and stuff. It's really cool. Like they have an eye for that stuff. It's just neat to see, right? And then it's in the game world and they're having a great time with it. But yeah, I don't know. It scares me still. Like just what they can do with it. So
All right. So as opposed to being ourselves, let's be a badass space hunter. Let's dive
Yes.
into the world of Metroid instead. So
that's right.
much to a jubilation online, Metroid Dread was announced, which is a return to form, it kind of seemed, as far as a new Metroid game. Everybody was excited about that. 2D with some 3D elements. So the main playing is on the 2D plane, but like there's a lot of like 3D effects going to it. And a little bit of drama came up from that. So what was your take as myself, I've never been much of a Metroid person. Certainly respect it from what do you want? Like, just what is this? Like, I don't have to defend my gaming to you.
That's true. Yes.
It's not on Game Pass. I don't care. I'm kidding. But anywho, of the two of us, you're certainly more into the Metroid universe. So I was wondering your own reaction as you saw this first announcement and then kind of some pushback that was going online.
Yeah. The announcement was so welcome. The Nintendo has been Nintendo. And if anybody has dealt with Nintendo, they know what that means. They just let these great properties just sit there for years and years and years, and they don't touch them. They don't try to, well, except Mario. They do everything with Mario. But Samus has been missing in action for a while, and there was supposed to be a Metroid, the next one, like a Prime update, but they never did it. This one came out of nowhere. No one knew about this one, and I am in love with it. I love this type of, like, Super Metroid is one of my favorite games of all time. The 2D,
like parallax scrolling.
yeah, that I love that style. I love trekking through, kind of like a Hollow Knight, caverns, Metrovania. That's where it comes from, right? So I love it. The fallout from the announcement was at $60. $60 for this game. And I'm like, this is something that has that Nintendo quality. It looks like it has that Metroid universe. I have dived back into a whole bunch of Metroid games because of this announcement. But a lot of people are coming from, again, the comments were just, they're coming from that Game Pass life where not going to knock what you have going on there. But games are expensive. And I think as Canadians, we definitely know that. So you pick and choose and you vote with your wallet, right? If you don't want to spend $60 on a Metroid game, you can wait 10 years and have $120 because Nintendo games only go up in value. So good luck to you. I don't know.
That is a weird reaction where I can't believe the one I saw in the vein I saw in particular was, it's a 2D game. Why are they charging $60 for a $2 game? Which felt so bizarre, right? It's high quality. It's a fun to play. There's the amount of ingenuity and craft going into this game when you see it. Like there's tons of elements and looks incredibly beautifully designed. Like it's going to be of a huge pedigree. So the thought that it can't command $60 just because it's chosen a 2D plane seemed particularly off the mark.
Yeah, I don't get that comment. I don't, obviously don't agree with it. And again, if you don't want to play the game, don't play the game. I don't know. It's as easy as that. But this game has been like in development for a long time they just didn't have the technology at the time to do it. But apparently it's like 14, 15 years old in the making. Just like they couldn't do it at the time.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to what they can do. Apparently there's like, I don't know, stealth options and stuff, which kind of adds a new element to what Metroid is run and gun, right? You just barge into caverns and fire away. So to have a stealth option, we'll see what that does.
Because of this, you started to dive back into Metroid on the 3DS. Do I understand that right?
Yes.
And that was good?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's one of those games where now people, that game in particular, Metroid Returns, skyrocketed again to #1 on Amazon because everyone's looking for it. You can get it on the eShop, but the physical copies have gone way up in price. So everyone's trying to get back into this game. I love this game. It's a remake, like total reimagining of the old Game Boy game, which if anyone played that, you have to save points for sparse. There is only green and black in color, and you had to have that magnifier and the Game Boy Light to get your way through. But this it's got an amazing like quality of life update. My kids and I are playing it together, so they're watching me play it, and they'll kind of do some levels with me. And it has a 3D effect that I can't sell through a podcast, but anybody that knows the 3DS knows what it's capable of. And I'm totally in love with that 3D kind of effect to it. But yeah, the family is all into Metroid. I'm playing this. My son is playing the AM2R PC. It was like a fan-made Metroid. So he's playing that one. I'm playing this one. My son's watching me. He's switching off with his own character. I'm in Metroid heaven right now. I'm waiting for Metroid Dread, and it's not that far out. It's not like they announced it and they're like, hey, in 3 years you'll get this. It's October.
So the house has gone just completely Metroid crazy, and you could not be happier.
Absolutely. Love it.
We're watching the gameplay of this, and Metroid really suits the Nintendo DS form factor, where you had gameplay on the top and then map on the bottom. So a perpetual map on the bottom of your screen.
Yes.
That is really useful. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's so helpful, and it's all touchscreen, right? So if you know how to like flip to your weapon instead of like fumbling around with the triggers to switch your weapon, it's just a touch and you're good to go. But yeah, having a map all the time that's not like imprinted on the screen, screwing up your vision, is a great feature. And I don't know, I can't get around that either. So it's not like the old game where you were just completely lost and you just ran by everything over and over. But no, I'm totally into Metroid. The family's all back in. So Nintendo got us.
That's a gaming dad victory right there. You said eShop. Do you mean on your Nintendo Switch you can go and buy this Metroid?
No, not on the Nintendo Switch. Sorry. On the 3DS, whatever the shop channel is, it is available there. It is quite pricey. They do not go down in price. So again, $60 for a new Metroid game. You're paying $50 for this one that's 10 years old.
No,
so
you're kidding. On 3DS right now, if you buy this 10-year-old video game,
I think it's around there. It might be just
$50.
under 10.
Okay.
Yeah, it's $49.97.
So everybody can confirm we deftly defended $60 for the new Metroid. I have a hard time defending $50 for this Metroid. Oh, Nintendo, God bless you.
Yeah. Again, no sales from Nintendo on their first parties. So
one last thing, like you had mentioned for Switch Pro, you would actually like to see it have some 3DS qualities, because I remember the 3DS, that 3D effect was mixed reviews. Like I think some people kind of liked it, but a lot of them found it to be quite the gimmick and not really useful for gameplay.
Right.
You're a strong proponent of it and want to see it come to the next version of Switch?
I do. I think it it enhances that parallax effect, right? So, and if companies and developers do it well, I think it really works. If it's too like irritating, again, there's a toggle that you switch it off and it works fine in like the flat 2D-ness. But there's a lot of cool effects, and especially in Metroid, there's a lot of environmental atmosphere, and a lot of that stuff where she's charging up her beam, there's a bright light that tells you it's charged. That has a 3D effect to it. So it's almost like it's pulling out from like her plane, and then the background shifts along with you. It's just a really cool effect. I hope Nintendo kind of follows. They won't. It's just They won't because I've said it now, because they're like, nah, nobody used it. They probably have data on that too, like, hey, nobody switched that on, it just sucked the battery power. So I don't know, I think if they had 2D games, maybe now I'm talking myself out of it, because if Switch Pro, a lot of 3D games already, what would you do with the push and pull of a 3D kind of, because I think that only works with 2D level games where you can push and pull the background and foreground.
It might be an interesting answer. So, I mean, PlayStation came out with the PSVR. There are multiple versions for the PC. It's been rumored often that Xbox is going to try to find some way to get into the VR space, in so much as like VR, multiple layers of depth is current and seems to be trend that's staying around, right? So the thought that perhaps if they could leverage some of the technology they had built with that 3DS, but apply it with all the learnings that has gone on with game development. So think about like the amazing experiences that now exist within VR, right? Like they've been able to start to pull out. You think about your Astrobot, Moss, some of those super hot even when that was like ported over. If Nintendo can apply some of that coolness, like that interesting dynamic parts to their game with like technology, it might just be that one extra feather in the cap to upgrade to a Switch Pro. You are right about that. Like I do see what you're saying about in a full 3D game, how on earth would you actually leverage it? But I feel like you'd still be able to add more depth within that 3D space if you properly applied it, no?
Yeah, I think you could. And especially with overlays and stuff like in menus, to have it kind of pop over the screen is kind of a neat, just even accessibility feature so you can read stuff. But Nintendo doesn't like to do the same thing twice.
Oh, true.
So they might just be like, we're not doing any of this. You guys are crazy. But like, I almost relate it to like 3D TVs. Remember those?
Right.
They weren't around very long. But I'm like, now I'm thinking of those. I'm like, they didn't really optimize anything for
so if that's true, that'll be the reason why Nintendo never does a VR headset. It's like, listen, we were first with the Virtual Boy. We did it.
That's right.
We were there before anybody else came along, and you didn't like it. So we're out of the space.
You can't have it now. You didn't support us then. Well, suckers.
If you can't accept me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
Yeah, that's right.
The Nintendo story. That'll be $80, please.
Nintendo. That's right. They probably still.
Oh, and on that happy, depressing, and interesting note, we will wrap it up for the week. Let's circle back around, though. So you've been sipping on your 420 beer this whole time. How does it strike you? What's your kind of takeaway?
Again, it's pretty smooth after a while. I think
that's just the 6% speak.
So it will hit. It will hit you. It definitely will hit you, but it is quite enjoyable now. And it doesn't. It's not much different than anything else I've drank, which I don't know if there's a good pro or con against it, but it is quite smooth after a while.
Okay.
But again, it's pretty.
That's
pretty
good.
strong.
So I think it'd be if it was there amongst a lineup of other like great beers you kind of like, and it's like, I've had that before. I'll have one of those.
Absolutely.
That's a wonderful.
Be a good take home.
Yeah. So for myself,
how's the music treating you over there?
Gotta do one more time. Sorry. Okay.
That's right.
Run to the hills. So it's been great. So the maltiness definitely continues. The bitterness for me is kind of crept in a bit more as I've gone. So, which I tend to attribute to English ales, honestly. A bit more bitterness with how they do hops. It might just be my own personal experience with that. But definitely enjoyable. And I think it's just great to see, much like a lot of the craft beers we like or have tasted, even if you don't like it, often with a craft beer, you can say, okay, I don't like it. This isn't my thing, but they're definitely trying. Like this has a quality to it. And I'm getting that with this. Like, I think this is not just a fly by night, slap my logo on something. It seems like they're actually going for it. So interesting. Yeah. I mean, if you're a fan of the band, might be some really cool collectible. I mean, the can is like, it's like straight up metal. Like
it is. It totally is. It's like just an album cover.
So it took me by surprise when I saw it, and pleasantly surprised with how much they actually put into it. So, cheers, Iron Maiden, Trooper Premium British Beer. Good pick. Wow. So, hey, With that, we'll wrap it up for the week. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you want to get a hold of us, you can find us on our website, newdadgaming.com, or even better, reach out to us on our social at New Dad Gaming. If you have a game suggestion, if you have a thought on $60 Nintendo games or $50 or $50 10-year-old Nintendo games. If you have a beer pick you'd like us to check out, at New Dad Gaming, love to interact with listeners of the show and get ideas and get stories. Absolutely fantastic. If you like the podcast itself, you can subscribe to on any of the major podcast networks. So iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, any of the major ones. A subscription and really helps us out. And what helps us even more is a comment and a rating to help us get out there to as many gaming dads as possible. I don't know how to recommend Iron Maiden beer to new gaming dads otherwise. So the more subscriptions and reviews you get, the more we help it out. And Jeff and I really, really do appreciate that. So that's everything for this week. Thank you so much for listening. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. And just because you became a dad doesn't mean it's game over. See you next week. Play us out.
Let's do this. I need somebody to fade it out slowly. Just I don't think I have such control. There we go. Where's the volume dial? Sorry, we're gonna hit the chorus one more time, and then I'm gonna fade.
That's right.
Have a drink of their beer while we're listening to this. This is good. See you next week, everybody.
See ya.
Nailed it.